So, breaking news tonight. Johnny Depp has won his multi-million-pound lawsuit against ex-wife Amber Heard. A jury ruled her 2018 article where she claimed to be a victim of domestic violence in the Washington Post was defamatory. The jury awarded Depp £8 million in compensatory damages and £4 million in punitive damages. Ms Heard was countersuing Depp, but the jury found 2 of her claims were unproven. However, on 1 count, she was awarded £1.6 million in compensatory damages and nothing in punitive damages. Here was the verdict.
Do you find that Mr. Depp has proven all the elements of defamation? Answer, yes. Do you find that Mr. Depp has proven, by clear and convincing evidence, that Ms. Heard acted with actual malice? Answer, yes. As against Amber Heard, we, the jury, award compensatory damages in the amount of $10 million. As against Amber Heard, we, the jury, award punitive damages in the amount of $5 million. Do you find that Ms. Heard has proven all the elements of defamation? Answer, no. As against John C. Depp II, we, the jury, award compensatory damages in the amount of $2 million.
It was a 6-week trial between 2 of Hollywood's biggest celebrities, where we heard gruesome details where both parties alleged abuse. Sharon Osbourne joins us now. Sharon, you were with Johnny yesterday. What's your reaction to the result?
I'm very happily surprised because I didn't think that it was going to go like this, I must say. So I'm very happy, very, very happily so.
And, you know, as I say, so you were at the Jeff Beck concert at the Royal Albert Hall, where some people are raising eyebrows that Johnny Depp turned up not only on stage, but also that he's here and not there. What was the mood like?
It was great. I mean, look, it was Jeff Beck's night. It was his show, and his friend Johnny was performing with him for, 4 songs. So it was, it was a great night. It was all about the music. They were both great. And it was, about the music. And I think I said this the other day about what's Johnny meant to do, run and hide. He did what he had to do. He could leave the courtroom. He didn't have to stay there for the verdict. And so he carried on with his life. You can't carry this with you forever. The case, as far as he was concerned, had ended and he could leave. So he left.
OK, so he left. But, I mean, this is a sort of fascinating situation. I mean, how do these 2 individuals pick up their careers? Can they both pick up their careers? Or is this a Johnny Depp wins, Amber Heard loses, Johnny Depp gets new work and is able to work again, Amber isn't? How do you think that the industry is going to respond to this?
Well, look, it's proven, this whole case has proven that Johnny has a huge fan base worldwide. And they stick by Johnny. His fans have stuck by him through this whole scenario. And Amber doesn't have that fan base. Now, everybody goes with how popular you are. So the thing is, everybody's going to want Johnny in a movie because they know his fan base will go and see that movie. And Hollywood forgets very quickly. They have very short memories, and especially when you can make money for somebody, and that's it.
And, this is an extraordinary situation. I mean, we see the statements that have been released both by Amber Heard and actually by Johnny Depp. I mean, Amber says, the disappointment I feel today is beyond words. I'm heartbroken that the mountain of evidence was still not enough to stand up to the disproportionate power, influence and sway of my ex-husband. And then his statement, 6 years ago, my life, the life of my children, the lives of those closest to me, and also the lives of people who for many, many years have supported and believed me, were forever changed, all in the blink of an eye. I mean, this is the most extraordinary case, the most explosive case. The ramifications are huge, but also we have seen the most horrendous and gruesome details about both of these individuals. I mean, were you shocked by the details that we learned?
No, of course not. It's come on. It's We've all heard this stuff before. Come on. And anybody that goes, oh, my golly gosh, I was really shocked. Come on. We're all adults. We all know how dirty and ugly marriage can get. And, hopefully you can turn it around, but in their case they couldn't turn it around. And when you get people that are so, it's volatile relationship that they had, and you know it turns ugly, especially when there's drink and drugs involved. It always ends ugly with drink and drugs.
It absolutely does. Sharon, I know you're going to stay with us. Meanwhile, let's hear from Johnny Depp's lawyers.
What we have said from the beginning, that the claims against Johnny Depp are defamatory and unsupported by any evidence. We are grateful, so grateful to the jury for their careful deliberation, to the judge and the court staff who have devoted an enormous amount of time and resources towards this case.
So that was Johnny Depp's lawyer speaking just a few minutes ago outside the courtroom. Look, the response to all of this is absolutely extraordinary. Nicola, let's come to you first. What do you make of this verdict? What does this say to those who are perhaps taking cases through? I mean, I think you were quite shocked by the result.
Yeah, I was shocked by the result. I think, look, this case has shown that I think both men and women can be victims of domestic violence. That is something that we have known for a long time, but critics of the Me Too movement would say that it only supported women. That is not the case. What I am concerned about with the result of this trial is that everyone's going to focus on Johnny Depp winning everything. In fact, they were both found liable for defamation. And my biggest concern, actually, is what are we saying to women and all victims, alleged victims of domestic violence, if all that Amber Heard had done is come forward and say, I was a victim of domestic abuse? Will other victims feel like they cannot come out and say something like that publicly without the potential of it going to some kind of trial? That's my main concern.
I mean, I guess the other point is, though, that this has been such a sort of showbiz celebrity event that one would hope that we can all park that as this is unusual. I mean, when Sharon was talking and saying, you know, when drink and drugs are involved, I mean, yeah, it does get ugly, but how many situations do involve drink and drugs to that extent? I mean, Mike, I mean, you know, you've covered so many different trials and lawsuits. I mean, this one stands out as the most extraordinary with the most hideous details of their lives.
And the trouble is, in the end, you have to take somebody's word against somebody else's word. And this particular courtroom and this particular jury and this particular judge has said that they didn't believe Amber Heard. So as much as her accusations might have been horrendous and she might have said terrible things happened to her, they didn't believe it. They basically said that she was not sexually assaulted by Johnny Depp and he didn't beat her. And that, in the end, is the legal verdict. So you have to go with that.
From what we've seen playing out in the media, Johnny Depp has been the favourite one of the two of them continuously. The public have backed him and have been against Amber from the very beginning. And let's not forget that in this country, it was decided that we could call him a wife beater because that's what was decided over here. But with the jury over there, and I'm sorry, I know they've made their decision and it's done. I think that jury is fickle, and I think they've fallen under the spell of a Hollywood superstar.
Do you think so, though? Because I would take the view that I think everybody knows that these two individuals have probably done, you know, awful things to each other. But on the other hand, how on earth does one then deal with the situation here that he is kind of, we know he's a wrong un and we know that there are aspects, and he was quite honest about that. Amber was never honest about that, and maybe that's the issue. I mean, Sharon, look, let me bring you back in because, you know, clearly we've got some differing views on the panel where, you know, the ramifications of this are pretty awkward, aren't they?
They are, but, you know, you have to remember, too, that you're not dealing with everyday people here. You are dealing with people that are, you know, put on pedestals, that have unbelievable lives. They are treated, you know, with kid gloves. Amber, not so much as Johnny, of course, but they're both, you know, put on pedestals by the public, by the industry, by everybody. And, you know, Hollywood doesn't care about a fight or a disagreement. Of course, they care about when it gets physical, but, you know, people can be horribly verbally abusive, which to me is worse than being hit, because when you're hit, it can get better, but those words never go out of your head. And you can drive somebody mad by verbal abuse. But, you know, these are... they're not everyday people. Look at the lives that they live. You can't say that this is, oh, this is terrible. It is terrible, yes. But, you know, these things go on all the time in this industry. It went on in my life. I mean, I know loads of people whose lives it goes on with, and hopefully you can patch it up and work to get your marriage back on course and work to get sobriety.
Absolutely. Mrs. O, thank you so much for your input on that. Isabel, what do you make of what you've seen here, the result here, and the implications?
So I wasn't at all surprised by the result. I followed it quite carefully. I found her a very weak, a very unconvincing, a very unreliable witness, really. The whole thing was obviously extremely unedifying. I'm probably a bit less worried than you are, Nicola, about the issue of whether this will deter other women who have been victims of domestic violence genuinely from coming forward, because libel cases are vanishingly rare. They're incredibly expensive to bring, and you have to have a reputation to defend. And the vast majority of those that are caught up in these awful situations don't have either the money or the reputations to bring any cases. So I don't think it will have that effect in this country. But I think it is also important to point out that Amber Heard did win a bit of this case. And it was extraordinary how immediately after the verdict came in, that was so rapidly glossed over by commentators.
Yeah, so Depp wins everything, and of course there's one piece about it.
We were talking about it in the green room before we started the show, that we were there, we heard the verdict, and she actually did win $2 million, and no one seemed to be...
I were sitting there going, what?
Why is nobody talking about this? She did actually win something, and I'm with you that maybe in a defamation court this might not have as many knock-on effects, but in the court of public opinion, I think women will be concerned and worried, because all of these fans we're talking about that Johnny Depp has had around the world, OK, they're his fans, but generally speaking, people who weren't even invested in him as an actor or her as an actress have gone on a hunch, basically, that she was wrong and he was right. And that's the story that is as old as time, that people will automatically think that a woman is weak, that she is lying, that she has to be this perfect, innocent woman in order to also be a victim of domestic violence. It's not that clean cut.
But then I guess, you know, there are some aspects of all of this where one looked at the different performances, if you like. We're dealing with two, you know, very accomplished actors and the performances. Perhaps it's a good idea if we just remind ourselves of perhaps some of those highlights, if you can call them that, from the trial.
She threw the large bottle and it made contact and shattered. Realized that the tip of my finger had been severed.
No, I didn't want to leave him. I didn't want this to be the reality. I didn't want to have the man I was in love with. I know you don't come back from that. You know, I'm not dumb. I know you can't hit a woman. You can't hit a man. You can't hit anyone. You can't just hit somebody.
But never did I myself reach the point of striking Miss Heard in any way.
It's been agonizing, painful, and it was humiliating.
So, look, some of the main points that we saw for that extraordinary case. JJ, look, when we think about these two individuals, they've now got to pick up their lives, but also their careers. You've been covering showbiz for some years now. You've seen pretty much every kind of incident happening. What happens next? Who gets hired? Who doesn't?
Johnny Depp gets hired. He's already been making films the past couple of years, independent ones in different countries. Johnny gets hired more and more, and in 6 months' time, he has a massive smash hit and everyone forgets about it. Amber Heard will get vitriol and abuse across social media, and she'll get a couple roles, and then eventually she'll get smaller and smaller roles until we don't see her acting anymore. Maybe she goes to the stage. That's how it goes, and that's completely unfortunate, because as I said earlier, he was called a wife beater in our own English courts. So that is not to be disputed. That is what happened. He did beat her. And yet here now, we're going to gloss over it completely, and it's going to be, no, Johnny's innocent. That's not the case.
Yeah, I guess, look, we're going to have to assimilate what all of this means.